let's get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're really excited to talk to you about the opportunity that you have to drive business impact through a switch to Insightly, and also to let you know how we can help make the process as fast and as seamless as possible. Whether you've already decided to leave Salesforce, are exploring your options, or want to go back to your team and build a case for switching, I'm going to assume that you're here today because the status quo just isn't working. And we understand. Salesforce probably felt like the safe choice or the only choice when your company was looking at CRM options. You invested time, money, effort in setting up Salesforce, and you might feel overwhelmed by the prospect of switching to a new CRM. You might also be weighing concerns around the impact to your productivity in your business and wondering how to go about gathering internal agreement on switching CRMs. So what we're going to do today is give you confidence in our solution, our migration process, and our ability to help you drive business impact through a switch to Insightly's unified platform. So let's start with introductions. So I'm Melinda Prescher, Insightly's Senior Product Marketing Manager. I've got Chris Reider, Knightscope's Director of Client Experience with us today, and Zeke Silva, Insightly's Senior Director of Client Services. I'm going to interview Chris and Zeke today about Knightscope's transition from Salesforce to Insightly, and we'll be answering Q&A during the interview, but if we run out of time, we'll be sure to get back to you with any unanswered questions. So Chris, let's start with you. I'd love it if you would tell the audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you've been, and how you landed at Knightscope.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to, Melinda. So I'm Chris Reider, the Director of Client Experience for Knightscope, as Melinda had mentioned. Prior to coming into the tech space and being with Knightscope, my previous careers, I was in the United States Marine Corps, both pre and post 9/11. During that time, I was a systems analyst, and my primary education, my professional education as well, surrounds intelligence operations. After my time in the Marine Corps, I went into law enforcement. So I'm actually in the southeast of the United States. So I worked for a very large metropolitan police department for the state of South Carolina. Started out at the bottom as a patrol officer and worked my way all the way up to the top, up to middle level management as a supervisor over criminal investigations. During my time there, I also was assigned to our tactical team and was an operator there, and then moved over as a element leader for that. Shortly after that, spent 10 years there, and then went into corporate security. So during my time there, I managed different teams from investigations to physical security. I earned my board certification as a certified protection professional from the ASIS group, which kind of governs the private security industry. And then my inner tech kicked in, and I've always been super interested in technology and all that good stuff. So moved over and did a lot of systems integration and systems design, and landed at Knightscope, where absolutely I'm having a blast. So.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for that background. And then Zeke, I'll have you jump in and give the audience a little more information about you and what you do at Insightly.
Absolutely. And Chris, I just have to say, as the son and the grandchild of a veteran, thank you for your service. Every time I hear you tell your story, I absolutely love it, and it warms my heart. So welcome, everybody. My name is Zeke Silva. I am Insightly's Senior Director of Client Services, where I manage our professional services team along with our technical support team. I've been at Insightly just a little over 3.5 years now. And prior to Insightly, I worked on the technical teams at Intuit and Apple. One thing I want to share is what Insightly's North Star is. And it really comes down to helping our customers have that seamless, successful migration process. I worked really closely with Chris and his team on their migration. And I've worked with hundreds of customers, who have made this choice to move off of Salesforce and come on to Insightly. So we're going to be sharing that today, and I'm going to be sharing my perspective on why it's so easy to make that move.
That's great. Thank you, Zeke. So before we dive into the interviews, I'm going to give just a little bit of background about Knightscope and then have Chris elaborate. So who is Knightscope? They're an advanced security tech company based out of Mountain View, California. They build fully autonomous security robots that deter, detect, and report on criminal activity. So they're really working at the intersection of self-driving technology, robotics, and AI. They've got customers in technology, transportation, sports and entertainment, travel, and media. They started looking for a new CRM and marketing app because the team was growing and was challenged by the constraints that are specific to Salesforce. Knightscope was in a hurry to make a change, and Chris was actually under a ton of pressure to make the right decision for the team, for their business. And he had literally about 12 hours to find 3 CRMs, vet them, and provide a recommendation to the leadership team. And so he'll tell you a little bit more about that journey in a minute, but wanted to give you some background. So let's dive right in. Chris, I'd love to have you share a little bit more detail about Knightscope for the audience. What's made you successful? What are your goals and objectives? What's going on over there?
Absolutely. So probably the most important thing, first off, is the goal of Knightscope, and that is to make the United States of America one of the safest countries in the world, leveraging technology to be able to do that. My past life, as I mentioned, being both, an intelligence analyst and then being in law enforcement in the military, there's not enough people to go around. It's extremely difficult to recruit more police officers. You can't just go out and just hire people to go into the military. So we've got to kind of bridge that gap, if you would. And that's what Knightscope's doing. So we're leveraging the technologies that a lot of these different groups may not have the funding for. If you took all of our capabilities out independently and tried to accomplish the same goal, it'd be very expensive to do. So by being able to provide the platform that Knightscope does, we can put technology directly into the hands of the people that need it on a regular basis and impact their business. So that's what we're trying to do. What was the other part?
That is perfect. That's really, really good. I'd love to kind of build on what I alluded to the audience earlier, in that you were on a really tight time frame to make a shift in terms of choosing a new CRM. Maybe talk us through, give the audience some sense of what you were going through. How did you hear about Insightly, and what did that process look like for you?
Yeah, that was fun. You're right. It was a lot really fast. So what I did pretty much what anybody else, I believe, in my position would have done. I was given my instructions from my management, and I went directly to Google and just, trusted a lot of the tech sites that I like to use that send good information. And so particularly I use CNET. And so I went there and got a list of the top 2020 CRM tools. I did side-by-side comparisons, and everything that I saw with Insightly honestly checked a lot of the boxes that we were looking for. Everybody did have something to offer, but Insightly, what really got me there was I immediately needed to start reaching out. I needed to start getting some conversation started and start sharing what we're looking for. With Insightly, literally got to the landing page. It popped up. Hey, do you have a question? Yes, I do. Here it is. 3 minutes from the time that I posted my question, it was responded to, and my cell phone was ringing. So the support team at Insightly immediately, they wanted to know, what is it you're trying to do? How can we help? Are we even going to be able to help? We were able to quickly get through those and see, yes, Insightly is going to be a viable option. And we set a demo set up the very next day. Now, prior to the demo, I needed to get some information over to them. So I was loaded down with information, and it was such good, viable information that was exactly what I was going to need to put Insightly into my deck, to say, these are who the ones I'm looking at. Here's good, bad, and the ugly, and here's my recommendation. So Insightly literally gave me everything I needed to succeed before we were even a customer.
Fantastic. And why were you all looking to switch? What were some of the drivers for you and Knightscope?
Sure. So like we mentioned before, our team was growing. So we needed everybody to be, centralized on one platform to be able to share information, collaborate, and all that. During that process, we realized that not a lot of our sales team members, we call all of our sales team directors, DCDs, Directors of Client Development. So all of our DCDs, we could see were not using the tool, or we were getting reports back from them that the tool was not doing what they needed it to do. So our technology and our industry, it's continuously changing. New verticals are coming out, new capabilities, stuff like that. We need to be able to migrate and evolve on the fly. And we just weren't having that ability with Salesforce. We have to go through a consultant. The things that we need, that we know we need it set up a particular way, may not be received the same from the consultant. So it was difficult to get it customized and built the way that we wanted to. And we knew at that point, we're going to need to make a change. So we began the process to do that.
Awesome. And Zeke, do you have any recollections that you want to share about your process of getting up to speed on Knightscope and what Chris was looking for, and anything you can add from your side of the equation?
Yeah, absolutely. The piece that I appreciate about Chris, and I see this and hear this a lot, is there's going to be two things. One, the customer doesn't want to have any disruption to their business. Especially these days, we're going 1,000 miles an hour, and we just can't stop production. We can't stop selling. We can't stop what we're doing. So that was one of the very first pieces that, Chris shared with me. I was able to align with it and further go into how we do what it is we do. But beyond that, there was just a general sense of apprehension, which is understandable. It's a brand new tool. They've done all this research, but it's still new. So that was really a big focus of myself, was to also, to not only put the team at ease around, that we're going to limit the amount of disruption to the business and downtime, but also that our process is proven, and it's going to help remove some of that kind of anxiety or apprehension that's around it.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a really good point. And Chris, I'd love for you to elaborate on that a little bit from your side. As you think back to your, potential apprehensions around switching, what were they? How did you overcome them?
So the biggest apprehension that we had was what Zeke just alluded to, which was migrating all of our data from Salesforce over to Insightly. So we had several years worth of data. I mean, probably about 5 years or so worth of data. And as a new startup, you have a lot, because you're hunting everybody possible to get the business off the ground. So of course we had a lot. And when Zeke said, "Oh yeah, it's no big deal. All you gotta do is just export from Salesforce and migrate into here," we're like, "What? We're not
yeah,
software
sure, buddy."
So, I mean, it was pretty scary, because like Zeke mentioned, you have your entire sales team's data within this database, and now they're saying, "Yeah, just take it from here and move it here," and you're like, if I lose anything, it's the end of me. I'm done. So we were pretty worried about that. But honestly, the process with Insightly, we had a roadmap. We knew where we were going to go. Zeke and Adrian, our customer success manager, were like, "Guys, it's okay. Don't worry about this. We'll walk you through every single step of the process." And once we got through that, and we had the foundation laid, we took all that data, and we populated it into Insightly. It was like, wow, is that it? It wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. So it was pretty easy to do. And then at that point, we had a really good foundation laid, and now all we had to do was exactly what we wanted to do, and that was to customize the tool to what we want, how we want to do it, and then take a lot of the experience and industry insight that Zeke and Adrian have to be able to build what we have currently. And of course, we're just making it better as we go, just continuously, just polishing the boot, if you will. So it's just getting better and better every single day.
Awesome. And Zeke, anything to add there about the migration process, putting Chris at ease? You and your team are just so in control of this process. I'd love to hear your elaboration on that.
Yeah, I'd love to. It was something that's really important to not only myself, but our entire company, is It's the relationship. That's what our tool is about. And it's about the relationship that we build when we get on a call and we meet our, our customers for the very first time as they've kind of moved into the post-sales world. And so it's having that conversation, it's building the confidence, it's sharing stories about how we've done this in the past. And, it really is that simple. It really was that simple. Chris and his team, we worked also with Ronnie. They're great. And I was able to share our playbook about how to get your data out of there. I was able to get it right away, run the migrator. And it was, I remember as soon as I opened up their instance for the very first time, I could tell exactly how they were going to start to use Insightly. There was some very, very clear indicators about how they were going to use Insightly. And of course, I had done research on their company, and I'm kind of a little tech nerd at heart as well. And I was like, oh yeah. And I started kind of going to guy solve mode. I'm like, oh, we're going to be able to do this and this and this. And I was so jazzed to talk to them about it and to see where they are now today. And they're really they're moving into like chapter 2, and it's super cool.
Excellent. And Chris, I'd love to build on that and have you share a couple of examples of the ways that Insightly is helping you manage your business better.
Yeah, definitely. One of the biggest things that I can see, thankfully, they made me an admin, so I can go in and change things, but I also get to see how much the sales team is using it. And they are. And I get feedback every single day from our team members saying, hey, can you do this for me, or can you fix this, or I got a question here. So that in and of itself has really helped our productivity. We don't have to wait anymore for somebody. They have somebody right here that can answer questions. I can immediately email Zeke or Adrian and get a response super fast. So the productivity level of our team has increased because of this. The data that we're being able to provide is very useful. That's, as Zeke can definitely attest to, one of our critical components was reporting, being able to provide our management team with reports so they have real-time data. So that in and of itself has also helped. Another thing that was very critical that was brought to our attention was the ability to automate a lot of our workflows and then create projects. So I touch every single project that we have, and that's the deployment of our robots onto our client sites. Being able to track that process, continually have weekly touch points with our clients and let them know, hey, your robot's in production now. It's entering burn-in. We need to begin the next phase and things like that. That helps me support our clients a lot better, but it also keeps us on track with what we're doing within our operation side to make sure that we don't miss anything. Everybody is now up to date. The client, the sales team member, our production team, so on and so forth. So being able to take a lot of these processes and automate them, or have a lot of these reminders, create tasks, the opportunities within Insightly really are endless to make you a productive, better user of the tool.
That's fantastic. And I love how you're talking about projects, because so much, for every company, delivering on what you promised is absolutely essential to staying in business, to keeping customers happy. So I just love to hear you talk about that. Zeke, is there anything else on the project side that you think is relevant to add here from your side?
Yeah, Melinda, you talked about and touched on a part that is so critical. And I think a lot of businesses understand you spend so much time, so much effort, and so much money finding the customer. You've spent a ton of money talking to them and getting them to actually become a customer. And that's half the battle. Then it becomes like, okay, now we're on the hook. Now we need to deliver. And, I noticed that with a Knightscope right away. They have the sales process, and then they need to deliver a robot. We use it inside Insightly as well. Adrian, their CSM, uses projects to help manage the engagement with their account. From the professional services side, we use projects because we have a deliverable. I have to deliver this migration. So we use pipelines, we use workflows. And that's the part that is super cool about being able to then bring things full circle and just overall enhance that customer experience. And I think, even beyond projects, the extensibility of our tool using our API, there's so much you can do beyond that. And it's interesting. I was literally just having a conversation with Chris and Ron the other day about some of the configurations that they want to start doing. And I think, Chris, you and I, we must have spoke for what? It was good 20, 25 minutes. And we're just like, yeah, like kind of completing each other's sentence. And I could just tell how jazzed you were about what you can start to do now that you kind of got that foundation going, and you're just kind of really starting to write the future of how Insightly is going to work within Knightscope. And that got me super pumped.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, that is all really good. What I'm hearing in this story is, adoption is going really well for you and your team, Chris. And then you're also thinking about extensibility, next steps, how to help grow your business through Insightly System of Record. Can you share anything more about your plans for future growth with Insightly? Where do you want to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the things that we're looking at, we also have the marketing tool from Insightly as well. So tomorrow, as a matter of fact, our marketing team and myself will be working with Adrian, probably Zeke too, to get that set up. So that's another kind of going back to before, some of the processes, the improvements. That's another one, is being able to have our marketing team that's out doing lead gen, journeys for new prospects, things like that. Being able for them to populate that data in, send it over to our sales team whenever they schedule a demo for somebody, for instance, or something like that. It's just a way, it bridges the gap between the different groups and makes sure everybody is communicating the same. And so that's one of the directions that we want to go. And then, of course, like Zeke said, we both kind of geeked out together, hearing all these different things that we do. And so it was like, yeah, let's do that. So, that's the next one, is now we'll start looking at some different, workflow automation choices that we can do to build for, all kinds of different aspects that the sales team's doing, that I'm doing, stuff like that. So it's really capitalizing on all of the tools. We've never had them before. So now that we have them, we're like a bunch of kids on Christmas morning. We're just tearing through it. We want, what's new? What's the next one? What can we do now? So it's been a lot of fun. And then just the collaborative effort and the information that we get, and just, I feel like, we're a part of the Insightly team, and then the Insightly team is also a part of us, because we work so closely together, and they think ahead and they want to share with us to make us better. So that has been an absolutely awesome journey through this process.
That's really great to hear. Any final words of support, guidance, recommendations for those who might be thinking about exploring Insightly and making a switch?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing that we had was, stepping out of what we were comfortable with, what we always have, even though nobody was using it, to add, either just a little bit or just not even at all. It still was comfortable. We knew it. And we just had to get to the point that it was like, you know what, it's okay. We're just gonna rip and replace. This is how we're gonna roll. Everybody just get on board and just work through, the speed bumps and all that good stuff. That's the biggest thing, is just being confident in knowing that this you're not gonna lose anything. It's not the end of the world. You're gonna learn something new, but honestly, learning something new and being uncomfortable, that's how we grow. That's how we evolve a little bit. So that's exactly the mindset you got to have, is this tool, Insightly, is going to help improve a lot of processes and a lot of capabilities. So, take the chance. Don't be afraid. The team, honestly, very good guiding you, helping, all that good stuff. So I have been, and our team has been, very supported by them. And we can call on them any point in time and get an answer no matter what. So that has been the best. The support is bar none. It's fantastic.
Wonderful. And Zeke, for you as the person within Insightly who's responsible for driving successful migrations, I'd love to have you share any final words about your thoughts around, the way your team has this completely wrapped up under control.
Yeah, I think my big takeaway around this is you have Knightscope. They're a AI robotics company. They're making these robots. I've done Salesforce migrations for customers who are in the solar industry. We just did a winery based out of Napa. It really doesn't matter what you do. One of our core values is with Insightly is we build with simplicity. So we keep things simple, but they are effective and they are productive. And it's something that we anchor on, and I absolutely love it. So to me, it really doesn't matter who you are and what you're doing. There's a seat at the table. I like to kind of think about it as everybody's welcome. Our door is open. Come on in. Let's hang out.
That's great. Thank you so much to you, Chris, and to you, Zeke, for just walking us through your experiences here. This has been really valuable. I want to go back to something. Zeke, you mentioned that Chris and his team, they're not only using the Insightly CRM, they're also using the marketing app. So they're using the unified platform. And so I want to go back to an important point. We believe that the unified platform is a key differentiator for us in terms of having all of your customer data in one place, one platform, and that data is flowing naturally between marketing and sales activities, so you have a single unified view of your customers. It sounds simple, but this is really the reason why Insightly is so unique. It allows your customer-facing teams, so marketing, sales, and delivery, to always stay aligned as your customer relationships and touch points evolve. As you know from experience, as marketing teams start to engage with prospects, you really have limited information about the needs of those prospects. And as you interact more from a marketing perspective and see what your prospects respond to and engage with, you get more information into the hands of your sales teams so that they're better equipped to have more insightful, relevant conversations that are delivering better experiences to your prospects and leads. This helps your sales team speak to the value that prospects and leads are looking for, driving more pipeline, higher conversion, and more effective sales velocity. And then once sales closes the deal, the delivery team benefits from all of that information that's been gathered through the marketing and sales cycle. And they have the ability to kick off projects effectively and track those projects through to completion, making your customer experience better than ever before. So we've come to the end. Zeke, have you happened to see, do we have any remaining questions left to answer?
It looks like we have one. I think Aaron might be answering it, but we can also, I think we have a minute, we could talk about it. And Amanda on the call here was looking to just have a better understanding of, so Chris, how specifically are you using Insightly? So, I want to be cognizant, aware of time, but, maybe a Twitter version of like, how are you using the tool? Like what objects are you using, lead to op to project? I know we talked about that a little bit, but maybe kind of hear directly from you.
So what we're doing is we're putting in our leads, we are tracking our opportunities, we are able to create an organization. So because there is a parent-child dependency within Insightly, I'm able to create an organization, say for instance, Chris's Toy Factory. I don't want to give any client names out, but so within Chris's Toy Factory, I can do opportunities for Texas, New York, Florida, on and on and on. And so what that does is, to answer Amanda's question, because that's a really good question, with the unified platform, when our marketing team is looking at something, if they're getting ready to schedule a demo, they can go in and they can go, okay, Chris's Toy Company. All right, Chris's Toy Company belongs to Stacy, and here's all of his opportunities. Therefore, they are now going to funnel any opportunity that belongs to that or is affiliated with that organization directly to the sales team member that owns that. So that has been a really good functionality that we have now that we can do to manage our pipeline and be able to ensure that we don't get a lot of that crosstalk, a lot of stuff that normally happens within sales teams. Hey, you're talking to my client. Well, I didn't know that because they're on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast. So that helps us to be able to mitigate a lot of that. But then like the projects is another big one because of the fact that our deliverable has such a lead time on it. There's a process to it. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it even before we ever deliver. So we can track all of those activities and make sure that we're meeting those touch points and those goals to keep our processes online so that we deliver to our customer on time as well. So that's just a quick snapshot of how we're doing it.
Excellent.
Love that.
Zeke, is there any other question out there outstanding? We've got about 1 minute left.
No, not seeing anything, but I think,
Okay.
we have the information up on the screen here as we said, and
Yeah.
our team is definitely here to help answer those questions, and, more specifically show how Insightly could, be rolled into their organization the same way we did with Chris and Knightscope.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Our team would love to learn more about your business and how we can help you hit your objectives and goals. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Like Zeke says, use the information here on this slide and get in touch with us to kick off the conversation. Thank you for joining.